Hello from Sydney, Australia. My name is Robbie, and here at Internships Down Under, we've been arranging internships for international students for over 15 years. Although I know travelling to Australia is the pinnacle, while borders remain closed, you're going to have to be satisfied with listening to me and my accent instead of living the real thing. While we have been focused on arranging traditional in-person internships for the majority of the 15 years, when COVID took hold, we ramped up our development of virtual internships, which are also known as remote internships. Our virtual internships are available to most Cardiff University students at no cost, but I'll speak about that a little later. Virtual internships allow students to develop their skills through real-world experience without the same financial or time commitments of a traditional internship, enabling you to continue with your studies, work and leisure activities without compromise. As you may have guessed, an Australian virtual internship is where an internationally based student is matched with a host company here in Australia without leaving your home country. Internships Down Under will review your CV, cover letter, and the type of training and skills you'd like to gain from the virtual internship, and then arrange an interview with a suitable host company where you can explain your expectations of the placement, and the company can detail the project-based work integrated learning they can provide you. When the company accepts you and you decide to proceed with the internship, then Internships Down Under will arrange an agreement to secure the placement. Once the virtual internship commences, regular calls will be scheduled at convenient times with the company, often during Australian business hours, where the company will take you through various projects they'd like you to get involved in, while also providing you necessary training and tools. Throughout the placement, you'll be able to contact the company with questions and feedback, while they'll be able to monitor your progress and offer you support and guidance along the way. The time zone can be a little tricky, so you may need to be prepared to have some flexibility around early mornings or the evenings in order to find a suitable time. However, this will also give you the time throughout the day to work on your internship, as well as any other commitments you may have. While we are able to arrange beneficial internships in a wide range of industries, by their nature, not all fields are open to virtual internships. The best way to find out whether we can assist you is to send through an inquiry detailing your requested industry, and we can provide feedback on the likelihood of a successful placement. Popular industries always include marketing, finance, and graphic or web design. Virtual internships are open to start on almost any Monday throughout the year with a minimum duration of 8 weeks. However, shorter placements can be made on request. We request that you apply at least 4 to 6 weeks prior to your preferred start date. The cost of the internship placement is generously covered by your university, unless that students are in their final year of study, unless the chosen program ends before the date of graduation, usually mid-July. Students who have an overseas component as part of their course, and students who have already received funding to take part in a global opportunity. Also, students undertaking a placement in their home country. Some common feedback we've received from previous students who have completed virtual internships include that they've been learning the importance of communication, they've become more employable, they've increased workplace confidence, and they've also gained industry networking, adapting and embracing working from home, and learning and adjusting to Australian business culture. Of course, travelling to Australia is at the top of your bucket list, but while the world tackles COVID, having an online Australian experience is your next best thing, and will most definitely enhance your appetite for Down Under once travel resumes. We will also supply you with a number of Australian cultural resources throughout the placement, where you can remotely experience and learn all about daily Australian life and prominent landmarks such as the Great Barrier Reef, AFL football games, and Manly Beach. Those of you who would like to find out further information or apply to the program, you can visit internshipsdownunder.com or contact me on Robbie, R-O-B-B-I-E, at internshipsdownunder.com or contact Christopher Gale, who's the International Summer Programs Manager at Cardiff University. Hope to see you soon.
I've been hearing a lot of great stories about Australia from just my friends and family members back home.
Australia has always been a really big dream of mine.
I've long wanted to visit Australia. Approaching my last year at university, I knew I had to start to look into internship opportunities.
I had to do an internship to get graduate with my French university, and I had the possibility to do it overseas, so I didn't think twice and I just came here in Australia because I love this country.
I always wanted to go to Australia and study abroad there, so I thought I might as well go to Australia and do an internship there, and it turned out to be a good choice.
I applied to this organization, and the organization helped me with, every steps along the way. I had some questions. It meant a lot to me to get them, answered correctly.
It was nice to go through an organization because then you can talk to the people who have done it before. You can, read prior stories.
The first day at the company, I was just showed around the place and introduced to the crew, and then from there I jumped straight into learning.
I was welcomed by the directors, so they introduced me to the whole team.
We did like this small meet and greet, which for me was just really amazing because I kind of felt that the people in the firm wanted to get to know me.
My first day at the internship was largely kind of classic first day. My supervisor walked me around the whole office, introduced me to everyone.
Yeah, the office environment here is really relaxed. Like it's a really good atmosphere. Like it goes beyond just the working part. So that's what I've really noticed and really enjoy as well.
The company treats me really, really good. The Australian people are so friendly and so warm. I wake up every single day looking forward to go to work.
My company is like my family. Everyone is super welcome and they really want me to learn. They're really supportive.
The company environment was really good. I really thought it was like a second home to me while I was in Australia.
The office environment here has been a big treat. The office is extremely diverse and I've gotten to work with people from all over the world.
Here I've been learning to manage social media, to create content, to do copywriting.
This internship has definitely been an eventful one. I did a lot of things like going on music video shoots and going in a helicopter over to Sydney, which is an awesome opportunity.
My best advice for someone to traveling to Australia would be to be as open-minded as possible, to jump out on solo adventures, to try to see if you can find some Facebook groups.
The best advice I would have to give to someone traveling to Australia for the first time is just to try to be forthcoming and open and welcome any new experiences while you're here.
Don't lose yourself in the minor details because it's an independent process, figuring it out. And I think that that's something that you shouldn't try and take out of it.
For anyone who wants to do an internship in Australia, just don't think about it too much. Just go in Australia because it's going to be the best experience.
It's a good way to get to know yourself better. You learn more how you communicate with other people in order to solve your problems. So I would say it's really good for personal development.
Okay, hopefully that video has given you a bit of flavour as to what sort of things are on offer here. We have got a few questions, and I think we might have these answered live by our colleagues from Internships down under. So the first question is from a student doing a degree in English, wondering whether you need to have a background in business or marketing to be able to do a marketing or digital marketing internship. So Robbie, I'll hand over to you.
Yes, well, firstly, thank you very much for having me and thank you for watching the video.
regarding that question, anonymous attendee, for marketing, for some industries, you do need to have a bit of a background, whether it's studying or skills or training or previous work experience in that industry. With business and marketing, to do a marketing, digital marketing internship, many companies would be open to providing that internship experience without prior experience, but you will need to be open and aware of the level that you may be coming in on, given that you don't have that background as yet. So whereas a student who may have that prior experience and skills may be coming in at a stronger level and be handled a little bit more responsibility. If you don't have that prior experience, you might be coming in a little bit lower down, and you'd be taught the basics for the first few weeks. And so you just need to be prepared for that.
Great, thank you. The next question is, can I apply for several roles? Again,
Similar to the previous question, it really depends on the type of roles or industries that you're applying for. If you're applying for maybe a finance and the marketing and another industry completely unrelated, then you would need to you'd need to have some sort of background in those industries. So we'd assume that you wouldn't be studying all of those different varied industries. So we would try to narrow down your focus if possible, and to find out what your interests and skills are, so that we can find that internship that you can get the most out of.
Perfect, thank you. Next question, so with travelling, how will the visa process take place considering COVID restrictions in Australia? So it's important to say that for this year, this opportunity is going to be a remote opportunity, so it will be completed from home. Unfortunately, we're not able to support any travel this summer, and this also answers the following question from Richard Paul. The university here has taken the decision not to support in-person travel for internships or volunteering this summer. So even if the situation were to improve in the next couple of months, due to the sort of the amount of logistics that have to be put in place, the booking of flights, of visas, the time process required just doesn't give us enough time to confidently be able to support that type of in-person program. So this year we are looking at remote from home. We absolutely hope that this time next year we're having very different conversations.
Just adding to that as well, at the moment, the situation here in Sydney in Australia is that there is no international travel at this stage. They've penciled in the end of October that international flights will start again, but what that will look like, how it will work with the visas, and who the priority will be, because at the moment there's a 2-week self-funded hotel quarantine, which is quite pricey. How travel will look in Australia beyond October is still up in the air. So, we'll just have to wait and see.
Thank you for that. And the next question is from Malika. How much does it cost to do the internship without funding? So she's received the Erasmus funding before, so unfortunately is correct, wouldn't be eligible for funding. But this is one of the main reasons we've decided to work with Internships Down Under, is that these are, we think, very affordable. So I'll let Robbie touch base on that question.
Sure. So at the moment we've based it on 2 different programs, an 8-week and a 12-week duration, and each is 20 hours per week. And so for the 8-week program, it's priced at 590 Australian dollars. And for the 12-week, it's 690 Australian dollars. If neither of those durations fit in with your requirements, then reach out and we can discuss other pricing for you. But just to give you a ballpark and base figure, that's what you're looking at. And with that, compared to an in-person traditional internship, obviously there's no other costs. There's no flights, visas, insurance, etc.
Great, thank you. Do they prefer you to be studying the subject as a degree, e.g. marketing, the student's doing a history degree but has work experience in marketing and PR and has done separate courses in these subjects. I presume that's going to be beneficial. That's going to be a helping hand.
Sorry, I've just lost my place with the questions. Where?
So it's anonymous. The second one is anonymous.
How do they prefer you being?
Yeah.
Do they prefer you? Okay.
So I think it's touching on from the first question with sort of, so there's a bit of background in marketing and PR.
Again, yeah, similar to that first question, it comes down to the industry. There are, such as finance. If you requested a finance internship, they'd be looking for those finance background and foundations. With marketing and perhaps PR as well, host companies are a little bit more open and lenient with your background, and they would be able to tailor the experience in the virtual internship to fit in with your requirement, with your level.
Thank you very much. Next question is from Patrick. He has an optional study abroad module later on in this course. Am I able to self-fund the virtual internship in order to maintain eligibility for later co-funding? Yes, that's the very quick, easy answer. You can absolutely do that. Are the 8-week internships paid?
No, they're not. Some companies may offer a stipend. I know that with in-person internships, the internships are typically unpaid, but they do offer a stipend such as bus and train tickets, transport, but obviously that isn't the case and isn't applicable to the virtual internships. But you need to allow that it will be a voluntary unpaid internship, although some companies may offer some type of stipend, but please don't rely on this.
Yeah, it's worth adding from our perspective. We, from our team, we've always tried to source paid internship opportunities, but in all honesty, outside of the UK, it's pretty much unheard of from my experience. As I said, we would love to be able to find paid internships, but usually there are visa restrictions, especially for the in-person ones, and it just seems to be quite. I mean, in the UK, I think there's a period of minimum duration. If you complete an internship for a minimum period of something like 4 weeks, you have to be paid. But this law doesn't apply elsewhere, seemingly. So unfortunately, they aren't paid.
Yeah, just adding to that as well, though, it's not as applicable to virtual internships, but we still want to follow it. That with a voluntary unpaid internship, and when there is no payment, the focus of the internship must be on training to benefit the intern. So we certainly promote this to the host companies and we enforce this. So the benefit must go towards the intern. So although it's unpaid, it's not an employment relationship.
Thank you. And we've got some sort of subject-related queries. So someone's asking for engineering and also film and television production.
Okay, starting with the engineering, we currently have a company that's offering virtual internships in the solar engineering, environmental engineering field. The interns that we've had there have been, really enhancing their skills and training, and we've been getting some great feedback. So there have been some engineering placements related to the solar panel industry. And in regards to film and television, similarly, we do have companies that can provide that production experience. So we're certainly open to that as well.
Great, thank you. There's no further questions coming in at the moment. Here we go. Is there only one place available per offer?
Okay, so the procedure, once we do receive an application from a student, we would review the CV and cover letter, your CV and cover letter, and we would work to find the most suitable placement for you. If for some reason that internship doesn't meet your requirements, obviously we'd want to find out why, so that we can do our best to try to improve for the next placement that we try to find you, or vice versa. The company may not accept you, and so then of course we would work to find you a placement. We can't we certainly can't force companies to host interns, and we won't be, and vice versa as well. But saying that, we do arrange one offer at a time, and whether you choose to accept that or pass on that, that's your decision. But we don't normally offer multiple placements, multiple offers at one time for you to then choose and select between.
Thank you. And Andre has asked, how would we go about securing global opportunities funding if we're eligible? So we keep in very regular and close contact with Robbie and the team at Internships Down Under. So we'll keep an open dialogue, so we'll know that when you've applied for the internship, if you're successful, then we will contact you with the next steps and what you need to do to secure the funding. But the rule of thumb is if you're eligible and you've been accepted by Internships Down Under, then you will receive the funding, and it's just the process that we'll then go through to get that to you. Is your start date fixed to 4 to 6 weeks after your successful application, or are the start dates flexible?
Start dates are flexible, so you can apply beyond 4 to 6 weeks in advance if you like, which may bring more opportunities. And also, although we have that 4 to 6 week requested application timeline, should you want to start on a shorter timeline, we will do our best to try to assist, but we do request at least a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks. So there is a little bit of flexibility there, yes.
Do we apply via Global Opportunities or Internships Down Under? So if you go to our intranet pages by searching Spend Time Abroad, you'll find our virtual programs page. There is a page that we have there specifically for Internships Down Under. It links directly to their website. So you apply directly to Internships Down Under in the first instance, go through all the processes with Robbie and the team, and then if you're successful, we'll get that notification from Robbie, and then we'll guide you through the rest of our processes with regards to the funding, etc. Great, thank you. Okay, we'll just wait a couple of seconds more in case any last minute questions come through. But I hope you found that interesting. We hope that if you're interested in an internship, we hope it's something that you might consider. As I said before, we very much hope that this time next year we're able to talk with Robbie and have this presentation for real life in-person placements. Yeah, I think
especially as the world turns to work from home, and it's becoming a lot more common, and companies are much better, well set up for the virtual internships. So it's not as clunky as it may have been pre-COVID if we were to be offering virtual internships. So with so many staff, and the company having to run smoothly virtually and with remote staff, having a virtual internship is quite a smooth transition, smooth add-on for a host company at these times. And it's also a great learning curve because there's every chance that your employment, your next employment, whether it's in a month or in years to come, with this transition to working from home, it's a good way to start as well, because that's where you may be moving to.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's one of the key benefits is the digital learning and the learning to host Zoom webinars and record and screen share at the right point, etc. Which we've done it a few times now, so we've just about got it seamlessly. But it's a really good opportunity to sort of dip your toe into the pool, as it were, and gain those experiences. Last question from Malika. Are there opportunities for permanent jobs within the company after internships? So I can speak from other internships that we provided in the past. Absolutely, that can happen. It's obviously going to depend on the company and what their infrastructure is like, but an internship can often be a foot in the door. There are obviously things to consider, such as visas, residency, and all the rest of it. But there's definitely, if you make your mark on a company through your internship, we have seen it before where students have been placed, maybe not necessarily in that exact location. We have had a student do a placement in China and ended up being offered a job in the UK in their UK operations based location. I'll let Robbie also answer from Internship Firm's perspective.
Yeah, that's all correct. It can lead to a job. You know, we can't guarantee that, but we certainly, you know, have some fantastic stories where students are still employed remotely. And I know that we even there's a story recently of a student who did an internship here in Australia, returned back to the Netherlands they were from, and recently this company was short of staff and they needed someone to attend a conference here in Melbourne, and rather than training up a new staff member or finding someone to represent them, they were so pleased with this intern that they flew them out from the Netherlands to Melbourne simply to represent the company for this conference, and put them up in the hotel, and so they got an all expenses paid work holiday to Melbourne to represent the company because they were so confident in their performance. But there are stories, there are all types of stories where our students do get employed, but you know, it's certainly not a guarantee, but it can happen.
It's definitely a way. It's a way to open some doors, and you just never know. I think, and as Robbie said there, if you make that kind of impact, then you know, definitely opportunities could arise.
Yeah, you really, as Chris said, you don't know what opportunities may come later. You know, your manager at the internship that you may complete in a month's time could move companies 6 months later, and they may be looking to expand, you know, into Cardiff and open an office there or nearby, and you would, you know, potentially, you know, you would be the natural employee, or you'd certainly have a step ahead of anyone else who'd be applying for those positions. So you really don't know what opportunities it could open up.
But I think that's probably a pretty good place to leave it on that note. Thank you, Monica. We thank you, Robbie, for joining us at what must be about 9:30 p.m. where you are. So we appreciate you taking the time to talk about this fantastic opportunity. This video, as I say, it's being recorded, so we will be uploading it to our Internship page for people to watch subsequently. But there seem to be no further questions, so we'll say thank you. I'll stop recording right now.